Welcome to another week in my kitchen, where I show you how I prevent going crazy while trying to feed a bunch of very fussy people. If you stick around, I will show you how to smuggle incredible things into a pizza and how to avoid chewy and dry chicken breast. But first things first, we're making dumplings for Mum. And why are we making dumplings especially for Mum? Because self-care is just as important as taking care of your family. If not more so, because we all know very well, you can't pour from an empty cup. I say it often that my family is fussy when it comes to food, and I never really made it clear that it all starts with me. At any random moment in the day or night, I can get inspiration about what I would like to eat. And if I don't follow it, anything else I end up eating just tastes meh. Of course, if you have a family, it's not easy to always follow your cravings to the dot. That's why I make it a point to regularly cook something I really crave for myself, even if nobody else wants to eat it. Someone gets their nails done, someone paints a picture. I cook for myself as an act of self-care. Whatever it is that recharges your batteries, just make sure you keep on doing it, mama. For my self-care dumplings, I chopped up and boiled some carrots and broccoli. And now I'm adding corn and the tender parts of the broccoli, which literally just take a moment to soften. Once all the veggies are cooked, I put them on a chopping board and chop into pieces as tiny as possible. This is not something I do very often. I'm usually quite lazy in the kitchen and take a lot of shortcuts. Usually even cutting a carrot into circles before boiling it seems like unnecessary extra work. Sadly, I can't think of a way to stuff a whole carrot inside a dumpling. But maybe one day I'll figure it out. After all, laziness is a great source of creativity. Speaking of which, I wonder if anyone else in the world at all mixes instant miso soup with just a tiny bit of water and soy sauce to create dumpling seasoning. Anyone? Raise your hand. Let's make friends. Once the quote-unquote seasoning is ready, I add it to the chopped up veggies. I apologize in advance to any Asian people who might be watching and feeling a similar way an Italian would after seeing pineapple on a pizza. Watching my protein intake has really changed my life for the better, so I'm trying to be mindful with every meal that I prepare. This is why I'm chopping up some roasted edamame beans to add to the mix. To be honest, it's not just for the protein. I love the taste of edamame beans. I probably end up saying this in every video I make. I don't like onions, but I recently discovered that I don't mind chives. That's why I'm adding some. If by any chance you were expecting me to make the dumpling wrappers myself, I'm sorry to let you down. I don't think this is gonna happen anytime soon. I pulled out the ones I had in the freezer and filled them with the veggies. Even like this, it takes a little eternity. Go figure if I had to make the wrappers myself as well. Kudos to all the Asians who do this regularly. Come to think of it, it's not just Asians. I feel like so many world cuisines have a variety of this dish. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking pierogi from Poland, pelmeni from Russia, kulurjones from Sardinia. Tried them all, loved them all. Clearly it's a brilliant idea to fill those circles with yummy stuff. I prepared mine as pot stickers, which simply means you fry them on both sides in a little bit of frying fat, add just a tiny bit of water, cover them and let them simmer for a couple of minutes. Once the water has evaporated, you are left with perfection, or as close to it as you can get. I ate my dumplings with some leftover sea bass and a cucumber salad, while I fed a simple egg sandwich to my kids. 100% satisfaction and zero guilt, because this evening was all about taking care of myself. Now back to my fussy squad. Can you believe I managed to smuggle baked beans into a pizza? It's kind of lucky that kids usually think that their parents having a YouTube channel is embarrassing. If they watched my videos and found out all my secrets, I would be done for. My older one refuses to eat beans, but he does like pizza. So what have I been doing since he was a toddler to make sure his protein needs are met? I've been blending the beans into the pizza sauce. Call me evil, but you can do this with so many veggies that your child otherwise wouldn't have. As long as you keep a good proportion, meaning there is mainly tomato sauce, you can easily sneak in peppers, broccoli, carrots, or whatever else you want. You probably noticed I'm using some ugly leftover wraps as a base for this pizza, which is what I do very often. They make for a quick and convenient pizza base, and it's a good way to use them up if they've been sitting around for too long. On top of the tomato sauce, I'm using our favorite condiments and a mix of cheese. Mozzarella is always a must, and I'm using shredded cheddar for one batch and smoked provolone for another. I'm an overthinking champion, and when I start overthinking this, I always start to feel a little guilty. I'm actually tricking a child into eating something that they don't really want to be eating, and I remember how it felt when someone tried to trick feed me pork pretending it was chicken. That was not cool. But then I remember my intention is keeping my kids healthy, which is hopefully more noble than simply trying to outsmart someone. Recently it seems like my boys are getting hungrier by the day, so feeding them just a pizza would probably not be enough, unless I make like 10 of them. And also, I don't like pizza, so it couldn't be the only dinner option. That's why I made some chicken to go with it. And because I like to keep myself crazy busy, I'm making 2 versions of the chicken. This one is with peanut butter sauce, and it's for my older son who always prefers a little bit of extra flavor. A side anecdote, I really felt like I had prepared a lot of food that night, but my hungry kid insisted he also needed noodles to go with his chicken. I said fine, as long as you prepare them yourself, which he did, and ate them all too. And now, everyone else's chicken, and the promise tip to make sure it stays juicy. Greek yogurt, ladies and gentlemen. All I do is sprinkling the chicken breast with some flour, and then I add all the condiments alongside with Greek yogurt. I massage the Greek yogurt into the chicken breast chunks and very quickly pan fry them from both sides. Once they form a nice crust, they go in the air fryer for about 5 minutes and that's it. I don't know what it is that the Greek yogurt does to the chicken breast, but I promise you it's a game changer. After I plated half a pizza and some chicken for my youngest son, it was time to plate some food for myself, but honestly, I just wasn't feeling hungry that night. Just a side note to go with a nonsensical portion. And last on the list, better for you biscuits. I mix 3 eggs and ghee. This is the first time I ever used ghee in baking, by the way. I thought it was similar enough to butter, so I was like, why not? I then added shredded coconut, protein powder, and flour. Once again, eyeballing everything, even the baking powder. I really can't get over the fact how things turn out just fine when I experiment, and it's always a perfect disaster when I try to stick with a recipe. Just why? Continuing not to measure anything, I added rum sugar and regular brown sugar. And the star of the show, chopped up chocolate. Whenever making these healthy-ish treats, I like to add chocolate as a source of sweetness because I really don't use a lot of sugar. And yes, I know chocolate contains sugar before anybody calls me out. The cookie dough seemed to need a little more flour, so I added some because that's what I do when cooking without a recipe. Add this and that until I get the consistency that I'm after. I have a very sweet tooth, but not in the sense that I like very sweet stuff. I just like to have something kind of sweet pretty often. Most of the things that you can buy at a store seem a little too sweet for me most of the time. That's why I love making treats like this at home, where I can regulate the amount of sweetness. The fact that I used quite many eggs for the size of the batch, and also the protein powder, makes me think of these sort of like the protein bars that you can buy at a store, but made from scratch using good ingredients. I'm all about balancing taste and health, and I feel like these hit the spot perfectly. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen, and I'm hoping to see you soon.